Da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun dun. My Pika da 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 dun dun. Well, welcome back. Once again, it is time for the Comics Coffee Table. Thank you very much for stopping in. Pull up a chair. Sit down. We're going to talk about comic books for a few minutes in our busy day. We're taking a couple of minutes every day to talk about something that we love. Comic books. If you love comics as much as I do, you are in the best place ever. I guess. Where do you come up with this stuff? He writes the dialogue and makes the show notes, you know. We use show notes here. We do. We still do. Welcome back. I just thank you so very much for tuning in. We try to we don't try, we actually do. We talk about comic books every day, and it's an awesome thing. I love escapism, and I want to value that escapism. I want to cherish that. I want to make sure it stays intact, and I want to talk about it just for a couple of minutes every day. You can just drop off your problems at the front door, come to the coffee table, take a break, have a coffee break. We're going to talk about comic books just for a few minutes in our busy day. And we started out last year doing this by using a 365 days book as our guide. We would open up to today's date, January the 19th. We would look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We would read the blurb, and then we'd talk about comic books for a few minutes. And this is a 2004 Abrams publication, written and curated by Chip Kidd and Les Daniels, with photographs by Jeff Spear. There's a link in the description to the Amazon page where you can get your own copy. You deserve one. It will look great on your coffee table. This is a hardcover coffee table book. You know, and given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago, and it's been serving like coffee table ever since. So this is where we all got together. We're here at this coffee table. We have a virtual coffee table online. You know, you could be driving your car, but guess what? Hopefully, in your mind, you're at the coffee table too, and we're just going to, take like I said, a few minutes every day and talk about comic books. Awesome. We are also going to what we're doing with this show is we're rebagging, reboarding, and reboxing my entire collection. That's my goal for this year. I mean, last year it was the 365 days book. This year we're using these 2 books, the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide, the most current edition, and Overstreet's Guide to Grading Comics. I'm learning so much about my hobby by doing this. My parents gave me these books for Christmas, so this year is dedicated to my parents. Thank you, Hoppy Poppy, my stepdad. Thank you, Mom. And yeah, and I think that just going through my old comic book collection, which desperately needs some love, everything needs new bags and new boards, and they most definitely need new boxes. And I've traded downward in a way. I've gone from the long box, the distinctive comic books long box cardboards, to the short box versions. Why? Well, I'm getting older, and those long boxes don't get any lighter. They get actually heavier as the years march on. I did a test where I weighed myself, and then I weighed myself again holding a full long box, and a full long box is about 50 pounds. So yeah, this is going to help, and just what I'm doing is I'm currently filling up one of these long books. This is just 2022's comic books. We haven't even started replacing the old comics yet. We're gonna quickly go through 2022's comic books. We're gonna board them. We're going to bag them. We're going to box them. I need to get better supplies so that you get what you pay for. These split at the top corner sometimes, and it's been a learning experience. So this is all about the learning experience. I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I'm a bit of a know-it-all, but do I know everything? Hell no. I mean, I'm enjoying this learning journey. learning by experience. And I learned, this is one of the first things I learned. You get what you pay for. I paid $8.99 for 100 of these bags. I'm not knocking the brand. I'm not knocking my comic book store either. I'm just pointing out that there are better bags, and they are pricier bags too. But I've been told to get Mylar bags and to ask for My Lights by name or the equal brand. So we're getting better bags as soon as they're available. I strictly buy them from my local comic book shop. Why? I could have Amazon ship them to me. But I want to help contribute to the financial health, to promote the goodness that comes from having a local comic book shop in my village square. I love my local comic book shop. I've been going there for over a decade. It's right in my village square where my subway station is, and where my movie theater is, and my mini supermarket, and a couple of restaurants, and my bank where I get rolls of quarters for laundry and stuff. Yeah, I rent. I got flatmates. We rent. There's quarter laundry, but still, it's good to have your bank, to have your local comic book shop, to have a local movie theater, some restaurants, and a little supermarket, and a Starbucks, and a legal weed store now. Ooh, it's Massachusetts, but yeah. So keeping my local comic book store open, I want to contribute to that. I spent $50 there last week, just on a couple of new releases, a knick-knack, and a couple of short boxes. And these short boxes are going to fill up pretty quickly. Yet, it's I could have these shipped to my house. I could, for probably cheaper too. Yet, I need to contribute to better solutions. That starts with me and my choice, my conscious choice. And hopefully you too. You need supplies. You need some boxes. You need some bags and boards. So get your ass to your local comic book shop. Talk to ask them, hey, do you have any My Lights? How much? Like, oh, those are a little pricey. But so those are the ones you want though. And or maybe cheaper bags for cheaper comic books. I don't know. I'm learning as I'm going. This has been a good experience so far. Last year on this day, on January 19th, I made a video. We were just starting off on this journey together. We were just beginning our conversation. And in the past couple of months, we've gained a lot of momentum. We've got new reviewers. And so you might have missed last year's episode. But it was only 6 minutes and 43 seconds long. And it got 4 views, which is 3 views plus 1. And so what I've been doing is just been quickly going over last year's page. So, maybe this book is really cool. I mean, like I said, or I say every show, there is a link in the description to its Amazon page where you can get your own copy. And it's, I love it. It's worth it. This is Sandman, and it's art by Craig Flessel from Adventure Comics, issue number 61, April of 1941. The original Sandman, Wesley Dobbs, his costume does get adjusted when Joe Simon and Jack Kirby come over from Timely Comics, where they, I believe, had some disputes over their ownership of a creation of an intellectual property you might have heard of, Captain America, and they revamped Sandman's look to look like more of a superhero outfit with his kid sidekick Sandy. But before that, he had on the fedora, he had on the smart suit and a cape and a gas mask and a gas gun as well. So it was a non-violent way to apprehend criminals, I guess. He would put them to sleep with his gas gun. Let's read the blurb. This character would be later revisited by Neil Gaiman in 1989, and Sandman. It's post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, trying to resuscitate old properties, and there was a lot of that going on. And there was a Swamp Thing, there was Animal Man, there was a bunch of these mature, kind of like artsy-fartsy, highfalutin, made for college kids, you know what I mean, with a higher cover price, on better paper stock, with more interesting artistic stories, with a lot of these British, second wave of this, we call it the British Invasion. It was like Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, who was actually Scottish, Garth Ennis, who's actually Irish. Warren Ellis is part of there's a second British invasion a little later, in the late 80s. You had this huge John Constantine Hellblazer. It was a decidedly British funny book. But let's get to it. Let's read the blurb real quick. Swinging on a rope is one way for superheroes without superpowers to get around. Batman was the best at it. But here's the original Sandman, demonstrating his personal style. Probably both of them got the idea from Edgar Rice Burroughs' character, Tarzan, who had been traveling via jungle vines for decades. Once the Sandman gets where he's going, he may be able to figure out what's so strange about a metal gun. Not to mention catching a villain named Boroff, armed with a world-threatening violet ray. Okay, remember, these were just comic books, adventures, fantastic stuff. Things like, weren't all hyper real and had to make complete sense. They made a lot of stuff up based on, headlines and sciences. Science was like a pretty much a new thing. I've just been putting boards, since I feel like these are the best. These bags aren't that bad, and they're actually a lot better than those more inexpensive ones that snap at the corners here. So I'm just boarding these copies of Final Crisis while I have them out and about. Final Crisis, yeah. I mean, I fell for it hard. I mean, it was perfect for me. Grant Morrison being one of my favorite comics writers. These were $3.99 an issue in 2008. And looking up our trusty CPI inflation calculator from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, $3.99 today is $5.63. And it's a really interesting story. I mean, Grant Morrison, The Day That Evil Won. It's about Darkseid and the New Gods, Jack Kirby's New Gods. Grant Morrison's a really, really awesome writer. This is what I was saying before, too. I mean, J.G. Jones starts off the event, and then by issue 4, did all these covers, too. These are great covers. By issue 4, he's splitting his art duties with Carlos Pacheco, rest in peace, and Jesus Moreno. And by issue 6, we've got Doug Mankey, Christian Alamy, and Tom Wynn. A completely different art team. So the art in issue number 7 is completely different than the art in issues 6 and 5. And then 4, because you can see where different scenes. Because J.G. Jones is this really good artist, but was he producing quick enough to keep up with the publication? No, and so they eventually, they did the ending without him. You got to keep his cover here. But, yeah, so that's what I was saying the other day about at least Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, the 2022 Crisis event, kept its main artist, Daniel St. Pierre, through the entire thing. And he did a really good job, in my humble opinion. So, yeah, this is part of the show. We're taking our time talking about funny books. Final Crisis was a head trip, too. It was quite heady. What does that mean? Heady Pika. What does heady mean? I've heard it. If you read 50 Shades of Grey, you've heard the definition heady over and over again. Of liquor, potent, intoxicating, or having a strong or exhilarating effect. Like a heady means like you feel it's without, or maybe with or without the stupeficant, that a heady drink, an atmosphere, or experience that strongly affects your senses. For example, making you feel drunk or excited, such as in the heady days just after their marriage. Synonyms are exciting, thrilling, stimulating, exhilarating. And yeah, I would say it's a heady experience. Trippy, one could say too. Trippy being like, psychedelic. It's kind of out there too. It's and Grant Morrison knew how to layer nuance in with what he's trying to put down. There's a conceit. Okay, Dark Side. Dark Side is a major big bad that Jack Kirby came up with for his fourth world. Yep, here we go again. We're doing it. See, Dark Side. Oh, 10 pounds! This 10-pound omnibus. That's Dark Side right there, fighting his son, Orion. And look at that Jack Kirby art. Look at that. So beautiful. So comic booky. But that Dark Side eventually becomes one of Superman's biggest threats. If you've seen the old Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited, you know, who is the big bad of the entire series. And remember when Lex Luthor comes, we need your help. I mean, it's Lex flipping Luthor. You know what I mean? Oh, I love that show. What a great show. Just love the art on these. I fell for this hook, line, and sinker. As a publishing initiative, it got me spending my money. It got me, I spent more than just $3.99 over 7 issues. It's at $28. I got every tie-in. And I was firmly plugged into the DCU at that time. So, everything I was buying was just like, well, it was the crisis. Everything is like such as Batman was going there. And Grant Morrison was writing Batman at that time as well. And here we go. Yeah. Should have had boards in these years ago. Aren't you supposed to be doing your 2022 books? Well, these were hanging about, and I showed like the quality of the spine and how it was cracking, like how we would take points away from the 25 criteria of the 10-point grading system. I say that in all jest, but there's meat to those bones. Yeah, we were looking at the spines here. See all those like little cracks? Those came from being improperly handled and probably being in a bag without a board that we're allowed to bend it backwards. Let's see. We're gonna use this Judgment Day as an example of how not to handle comic books. So over time, without a board, your comic books will bend. Unless it's full, they'll flop. You'll come into it like oh wow, they all fell over time, and this one just got a little beat up. There've been some other floppies on top of it or the such, but that's what happens. I do have 2 2002 comic books that I'll be just to fulfill this show in a way. It's this 2002. That take the good with the bad. Here's an old book. I mean, this is an older bag, so I don't know what came in this one. But I'm putting this Superman. It just came out of Action Comics. This basically tied up all the loose ends from the Action Comics run that Philip Kennedy Johnson had, and this was $7. I mean, oh man, I took a chance on it because it was new that week, and I've been told, hey, check out Philip Kennedy Johnson. You're gonna like his writing, and I did. I did a lot. I'm also a huge Green Lantern fan, so this is also a one-shot, which it doesn't say it's a one-shot. There will be a new Jon Stewart series coming soon, too, by Philip Kennedy Johnson that I'm going to be reading. There will also be a Hal Jordan series that's going to start with Mariko Tamaki as well. I'm going to try that. I've never read a Tamaki book, and I'm going to give it a chance. You know, I will. I'll give it a chance. This came in. This was a $5.99 funny book, and yeah, I mean, it was just I didn't read the Jeff Thorne volume of Green Lantern that just came out. Well, I didn't read the Grant Morrison that had season 1 and season 2 of his Hal Jordan recent comic book either. I just came back into going back to the comic book shop and buying new comic books, especially from DC Comics. And so yeah, I'm going to double those ones up, and those are going in the 2002 long box, which is getting more and more full. I'm pretty sure that we're going to fill this up PDQ pretty darn quick. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. We've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books. Don't hit the comic books every day for the rest of the year. Tune in 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we will find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Tune in. Come up. You are welcome here at the Comics Coffee Table. Cheers. Slancha. Skol. Genki. Salud. Prost. You know, drop some. Please drop some of your word. If I don't know a word for cheers, drop it in the chat or in the comments, please. Thank you so very much. We will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. I would love to earn your subscription, so please like and subscribe and turn on those notifications. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. Cheers.